Welcome to the second half of the playoff spectacular Sip and Swish podcast. Today we're looking at the Western Conference. We had a great time yesterday dissecting all the matchups in the East. If you haven't checked out that pod, make sure you do. Please download it. Better yet, subscribe to this podcast. That way you never even need to think about it. It's just there. Guys, Western Conference. We've been waiting for this. It's very exciting. But I'm going to hit you with something.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Hit us with a hot take.
We got robbed of better, more intriguing matchups in the West. I'm honestly, I'm super hyped, obviously.
Some good matchups,
But we missed out on what could have been arguably the greatest Western Conference postseason, just in terms of like storylines, narratives, matchups of all time. So here's what could have been. And I mean, we're talking like minuscule differences like in records could have made this happen. So it's not a stretch. We could have had Spurs versus Rockets.
Okay.
D'Antoni versus his nemesis.
Right.
Pop. We could have had OKC versus the Golden State Warriors.
That's the one I miss more.
That one broke my
anything
heart
else.
the most, right?
That is seriously like pour one out for the boys. I feel
Not literally, please. It's a nice rug.
so bad that we don't get to see that. But what might be a better narrative is
you just love
OKC winning against the Warriors with a healthy Curry. I think that would be even more of a knife
that would be more
in the
impressive.
side. Turning it
happen.
is Westbrook just beating
A
the
fully
Warriors.
healthy Warriors?
Yes. I mean, they won't even be fully healthy because Clay will still have a broken thumb that he's still shooting off of. Curry just came off of an injury, but if you come off an injury, you're not 100%. You're still hurt.
No, especially not if you're rushing back to make the playoffs.
Right, so you're just healthy enough to step on a court.
That would be cool. We also missed out on T-Wolves Blazers,
Yeah,
which I think would have been phenomenal.
I think that would have been really good too. So many matchups.
And Pelicans Jazz. Anthony Davis versus Gobert.
It would have been who owns the right to the name Jazz. Like, I really think New Orleans would have been like, okay, if we win, we're taking Jazz back.
I love that call. Why didn't I think of that? I'm the musician in the group too. But yeah,
The Utah Pelicans.
Exactly. It was a battle of the names.
it makes more sense than the Utah Jazz.
Would have pink slips.
All right, we did this yesterday. Yesterday, it was a bamboozle. Today, you guys should be prepared for this. Mm-hmm. Let's go in order of confidence.
Guys.
I'm always prepared. I'm like Lucas.
Wow. Lucas wears glasses, so
Yeah,
Lucas
what do you
is
mean?
prepared.
Exactly.
In order of confidence in the lower seed winning, what do you think for these Western Conference matchups? I've got Golden State Warriors beating the Spurs. I'm super confident. Oh, excuse me. I misspoke. Houston beating the T-Wolves, most confident. Then Golden State Warriors beating the Spurs, second most confident. Third most confident, I think you guys will find this controversial, Thunder defeating the Jazz. And then I am least confident that the favored Blazers will defeat the New Orleans Pelicans.
I think the order probably goes how confident I am. It goes pretty much in order. Like, I'm most confident in the Rockets beating the Timberwolves. Second confident with the Warriors, then Portland, then OKC. I think the higher seed has the favorable matchup throughout, but that doesn't mean that these series are a lock.
I like that you
such
called them
way.
the Rockers, because then I just pictured the mascot just being like a rocking chair, which I don't
The
know,
Utah Rockers.
I just want like James Harden to be like a grandfather. He already has the beard. He's in a rocking chair. He has a monocle, smoking a pipe. It's all good.
So you're basically going chalk in terms of
Right.
confidence.
I think it's matched up
Talks
pretty
about
well.
us being boring, you know what I'm saying? I have a different. So I think it's Warriors Spurs. I'm just confident Kevin Durant can beat the Spurs.
Wow, more so than Houston Wolves.
And
Yes, and we'll get into the T-Wolves,
Yeah.
Houston, and there's a reason I'm not as confident as I should be. Then I would say Thunder versus Jazz because Donovan Mitchell's a rookie and leading them in scoring.
Wait, so you're picking the Jazz? Or no. I'm
No,
sorry.
Thunder.
I'm sorry.
Oh, this guy over interrupted me.
I got too excited then.
Then I'd go Rockets, Wolves, and then Blazers, Pelicans.
Wow. All right, let's On that note,
But it's like the top three are very close. Like, very close. 1A, 1B, 1C.
I hear you. Let's jump right in to the Houston Rockets versus the T-Wolves, affectionately known to this pod and our listeners as the Timber Puppies.
Timber Puppies.
Game 1 tips Sunday, 9 o'clock on TNT. Houston dominating the season series. 4 wins, 0 losses. Nick, why don't you take the floor on this, because you seem to see this differently than the rest of the world.
The big men battle. This is what I'm seeing. Clint Capella is just going to get mauled by Karl Anthony Towns. Just absolutely decimated.
Okay.
And I can see Jimmy Butler. You can't stop James Harden, but you can slow him down. James Harden's not going to get the calls he's been getting all season. It's just not going to happen in the playoffs. I mean, those are my 2 big takes on it. I think the Rockets are going to win this series.
How do you feel about the loss of Mbah Moute, if I pronounce that right?
Luka Badamute.
I think that is a big loss for him because that's one of their defensive stoppers. But it's also Mbah Moute is not the great 3-point shooter, is it, PJ?
He got Pete. They're both better now.
They're both
Luka Badamute
better,
was terrible on the Clippers, then moved to the Rockets and became a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a big loss because those are the players that are hiding Chris Paul and James Harden.
Whenever Ryan Anderson would struggle, they threw Luka Badamute in because he was a better defensive player, and even though he couldn't shoot threes as well, they were like, okay, he can do like 4 other significantly better things than Ryan Anderson could ever.
He's a pretty talented role player.
I think so. He's also started in 2 games versus the Timberwolves in this series. So it's like he's played a huge role in that 4-0 seasons. Like the Rockets are winning the series. Right, regular season series. So with him out, I think it's a huge thing. I don't think it's something that can be like overlooked at all because the team already lacks defensive players. If Luka Badamute is out, all they have is CP3, Capella, and PJ Tucker. So you only have 3.
Capella could be out game 1.
Capella, okay, so say there's only 2. Say there's only CP3 and Tucker. That means nobody's guarding Wiggins. Nobody's really guarding Butler. Teague, I guess, is being guarded by CP3 because Harden can't guard. And then Towns is just going to go to town on this team.
Towns is going to town, baby.
Exactly.
That was almost as bad as when I call something a slam dunk on this pod.
Oh, yeah. Going as corny as possible.
Excellent. I mean, I don't think this series is close enough where this injury is going to sway anything, but it's worth mentioning. And he might return at some point in the series, too.
He could.
My thing with the series, though, is the Rockets are historically bad shooting the 3-pointer against the Timberwolves. CP3 is only shooting 28%. Harden is only shooting average. He's only shooting 35%, which should be like a red flag considering he's labeled as like this elite guy. And as a team as a whole, they only shoot 35%. So they're only average, but they only shoot threes. So if you're struggling, so if you're struggling at the one thing that you only do, and like this isn't going to be a sweep.
No.
But I do feel like Rockets should definitely be favored. The way I approached looking at this series was Rockets going to win. These are the reasons why they shouldn't win. And then it really goes down like list by list on why the Rockets won't win because of these reasons. But for the Timberwolves, I'm so sick and tired of Jeff Teague. Watching that game last night, I just wanted to.
Such a good game, though.
I wanted to kill him. It was a great game, but what was it? There were 4 minutes left, and we saw 4 pick and rolls in a row of Taj Gibson and Jeff Teague when Towns, Wiggins, and Butler were sitting on the other side of the court. And it's like Teague and Taj should not be in this equation.
Well, Wiggins was completely uninvolved in that game.
That blew my mind, too.
He might as well. I don't even know. I mean,
they didn't even give him. He didn't even touch the ball. Though.
I should have been on that court because I would have been as effective and involved as Wiggins was.
He didn't try to make off-ball cuts. He didn't go off screens. He was just sitting. And I'm like, you have to do something?
It was one of the strangest things I've ever seen, to be honest, for someone who gets paid that much money.
It felt like the strategy isn't giving Towns 16-plus shots a game. That just seems like the borderline strategy of the team. And then Jimmy is coming back, so I gave him like, okay, it's not a knock on you that you're not taking every shot. And then Teague is like, okay, so it's my job to initiate the offense. Taj is like, I'm a veteran. Give me the ball. I can help. But then where is Wiggins? Wiggins needs to be the gunner.
How many shots do you think he took last night?
Teague?
Wiggins.
12.
I was going to say 7.
9.
That's not enough.
5 for 9.
So that's efficient, and some idiot out there is going to say, okay, he shot well, but that's not the story. That's
No,
not what
Taj
actually
Gibson
happened.
was actually the hero of that game.
Taj screwed up twice and then instantly made up for it with that block on Jokic, and it
He
made me
was stopping.
so happy.
He was stopping Jokic.
It was incredible what he did on Jokic.
It was a really great redemption story because he totally messed up.
Yeah,
the
he
play
did.
right before, and I was like, no, that was the whole thing. You could have had it done. You tossed it away, but
yeah, it was like watching just the old, Bulls team with Taj Gibson and
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler just really sealing that win for him last night.
And that's the playoff experience they need is with Jimmy Butler and Taj Gibson. They will close out every game because they have experience.
yeah,
So
it's deep.
because we're on the topic, as it's my answer, let's go to key player in this series. I said it should be Wiggins, but it's not because he chooses to be uninvolved. So I've got Butler as the key player in this series. Like it really should be Wiggins. I would love to say, and this is originally what I was going to say, that if Wiggins can play, at a top 20, 25, like in the NBA player level, if he can play like that in this series, then they've got a puncher's chance. But he's just not going to, so I'm not going to say it. Like I said that was the key to the T-Wolves when Butler went down. I don't know if you guys remember that on one of our pods. I was like, you know what?
It's Wiggins' time.
Yeah, it's Wiggins' time. If he can do it, because I think one of, if not both of you, were like, oh, it's time for Cat to step up. I was like, sure, and he's going to. But Wiggins is really like the linchpin that could make the difference. I'm tired of picking Wiggins in these situations. So I'm going to say it's Jimmy Butler in this series. If Jimmy Butler can catch fire, can shut down James Harden, puncher's chance, I guess.
Who'd you have, Nick? Key player. Since we all have best player Harden.
Yeah, obviously best player.
I
in
think
the series
it is Capella for me.
Capella, key player. Can he stop Cats?
Yeah, I think I'm going big men in all these series. Pretty
It's
much.
good. I mean, I think big man is probably the way to go because it's really underrated as significant to the game. Everyone wants to look at the
If
Gunners.
Capella can put a stop to Towns one game, or even just slow him, that's the game changer. Because Wiggins is just, I don't even know if he plays basketball there in Minnesota.
If he wasn't wearing the brightest shoes I've ever seen,
but him and
Him and
Towns
Yeah,
were
they
both
wearing
wearing.
them.
yeah.
They were just.
I didn't hate him, but I like funky sneaks. You guys know this.
I had Wiggins as my key player for every reason you were going to give for Wiggins being the key player. It's games like last night where it was like he needs to step up. And it just reminds me of the story of the GM telling, or the owner having a sit down with Wiggins when he was about to sign that max contract, being like, I'm going to give you this contract, but you have to promise me you'll be a better player in person. And then he had that whole...
I can lie to.
He had the whole interview, and then he came out on ESPN and was like, yep, I said that. Wiggins promised me he would become a better player. And he hasn't. But what if another sit-down happens? I could instantly see this because this whole storm of Timberwolves is Wiggins needs to step up. Owner comes back in and says, Wiggins, I need to talk to you. They have a 5-minute, 10-minute sit-down. And he's like, I swear to God, I gave you all this money. Do something. I don't care if they're questionably bad shots. If you're not taking shots right now, I don't know what I'll do. I think there's so much pressure on Wiggins right now to be the guy because Butler's not 100%.
Butler's going to try to take these shots now, because he
has to, because Wiggins
Right.
won't. But if Wiggins starts stepping up, maybe there's a lot of offensive pressure that goes off Butler.
And Cat's game isn't to put up 25 shots a game. That's just not him.
Yeah, he just
We
won't
can
do
want it from him, but
We can want it because when watching him post up, it's like he has all this talent. He could do it all the time. But then on the defensive end, he just seems like the kind of guy that will pass up opportunities because he goes, okay, I want to put the team first, go on the defensive end and try really hard on defense. He's not great, but he really puts the effort in. He'll get in position, but then he won't have his hands up, or he'll shift. And he's just 2 years away from being an average defensive player, and that's just a struggle for him. But
to your point with Wiggins, I'd rather see him go 5 for 20 in a game than see him go 4 for 7.
See, that's frustrating.
Yeah, 5 for 9.
It's always going to be frustrating seeing Wiggins not try. That's what I think the biggest thing. He doesn't even want to try right now, or he's too scared to try. I don't know what his mindset is. But Wiggins got to be the key player for me.
Anything else you guys want to touch on before we move on to the next series?
Yes, I have one question.
Please.
Career-wise, who's a better coach, Thibs or D'Antoni?
I don't think it's close. D'Antoni.
D'Antoni.
I might have to go D'Antoni.
D'Antoni, yeah. I was going to say D'Antoni.
What is
Damn
this?
it. I thought one of you was going to say Thibs, but I wouldn't be against a Thibs vote is the problem because he has a great career record.
What do you guys have the series at?
Sweep. Houston in 4. The T-Wolves aren't good. I'm sorry. They had a period of the season pre-Butler injury where they really were good and they were legit. And I don't think that would have changed if Butler stayed healthy.
Yeah.
But it's kind of too little too late.
I'm going to give the Wolves 1 game.
Man, my heart says they win too. But realistically, I see them only winning 1.
Yeah. I'll say Rockets in 5.
I agree.
Next up, Golden State Warriors versus San Antonio Spurs, the 2-7 series.
Snake.
Game 1 tips, Saturday, 3 o'clock, ABC. Golden State Warriors are up 3-1 in the season series.
This is probably the only series I'm so uninterested in watching.
Yeah, I'm not that intrigued.
Really?
I don't-
I'm
I
actually
don't-
really I would love to see how this pans out because there's that one storyline is if Durant can actually do it. Like
I lied. I don't know why I said that. I'm intrigued. I'm
there
completely
is
intrigued. I
something
take it
about
back.
Durant still that makes me feel like he can't do anything by himself.
Yeah, it was called the Bill Simmons podcast. We listened to
No,
it for 2
it's
hours.
been- it's
I
for
was
the-
like, God, he sucked.
Well, that one, yeah, he totally sucked. But then like
Whatever, blog boy.
since 2012, it just doesn't feel like Durant can do it by himself. Like sometimes when he was on the Thunder, it just felt like Westbrook was the best player. Like he was the guy that people like rallied around. If they don't have Curry on the team, who's the heart? Like Draymond, but I hate Draymond. I can't root for that.
Draymond's sucking this
And
year.
he sucks this year. You can't be like Draymond walk into the huddle being like, "Well, come on, guys, let's do better." And Durant and like Clay's like, "No, like don't
That
tell me what
is
to do."
something I was going to ask you guys. So they're 7-10 in their last 17. Is that real, or is it like they had some injuries that we've talked about before on the podcast? But
I
this
say
a real
it's
struggle?
real. I say it's real in the sense that is who they were at the end of this regular season. Is it real that that's who they're going to
Playoff.
be in the playoffs? I think we'll just find out. Like, no, they're obviously not going to be that bad. But no, it was real. They were trying to win
And they couldn't
most
get
of those
close.
games, and Durant was not carrying them to wins.
I'm trying to think like
And he was trying, though. Sorry, Lucas.
Yeah.
Just to finish my thought real quick. Durant kind of stepped outside of their system in a few games. And I would not say he played hero ball, but he didn't play Golden State Warriors basketball a couple of games.
And that's probably why they lost those games.
Yeah.
he was dropping 40 plus and they still lost.
They're 0-6, I want to say.
I think the whole maybe this is like even away from like this topic is the whole they're resting or don't worry about them, they're fine, but there's always a mentality they're not fine. Like this shouldn't be something that should always be pushed away. Like it's always LeBron's defense, or it's like, oh, LeBron's not giving good effort, and it's like, sure, LeBron when he was 28, he could do whatever he wanted, but now he's also like pushing 33, and his
Watch
team
it. I'm just kidding.
his team has gone from the 1st seed to now the 4th seed, and everyone's like, oh, don't worry about it. He's just still not trying.
Oh,
And it's
that
like,
reminds me.
you think LeBron, if he wants the 4th seed? No. LeBron wants the highest seed always. He's always thinking about his all-time career. You think he ever wants – this is a loss for him. The regular season is a loss for LeBron because, sure, he's going to end up averaging close to a triple-double, but he's the 4th seed. He hates that. It's all about winning to him. So
And you know what proves that? He played 82 games this year.
he played every single game, and he only made the 4th seed. And everyone's like, no, because he didn't try on defense. I think he tried every aspect of the game to win.
Ooh, I disagree.
No.
I think he
there
tried
was like a month.
really-
There was a month to 6
No,
week span
it was-
where he was not.
No,
he
it was not.
there.
It was that week and a half when they were going to trade Isaiah and Crowder, and he just gave up 2 games.
I think it was more than a week and a
hated
half.
When I was just at the Cavaliers-Sixers game, questionably game of the year in the NBA, I was very stoked
I didn't
to
get
be
to
there.
watch it. I was so sad.
I saw, and it was meaningful. It was pretty much going to determine
Who got the 3rd seed, right?
Exactly. I saw LeBron chill on defense several times, and in only a way that you could really see it in person. I'm just telling you,
I just don't like the cop
He was
out.
chilling.
I don't like the cop out giving LeBron a coast or any player that just gets a coast or a team that get I think
So
I hear you.
Warriors go 7-10 or whatever. They're not like coasting. They're not playing casual. There's actual real struggles. Like Iggy is actually hurt.
No, I agree.
Iggy's
They're
hurt.
struggling.
Sean Livingston has
hurt.
ankle injuries. Like people are actually hurt in this locker room, and it's not just everything's all rainbows and sunshine. There's actual real worries.
It's crazy because I listen to other people's podcasts and I listen to me. I'm like, these guys are like, no, they're gonna go. They're gonna be in the or the Western Conference Finals. I'm like, well, but why? Like, why is this such a certain like LaMarcus Aldridge? I could see drop 40, 45 a game against this Warriors team. Like, who's going to stop him? Javal McGee?
Like in a game, you're saying?
Yeah, in a game. Like,
They'd
he
have
could
to
drop
play
45.
like super small ball, and like Draymond and Durant are going to have to double team.
LaMarcus
LaMarcus
is going to play the same
then
spot
Powell's
on the
gonna be
floor,
open.
and he's still going to score every single bucket because they're not going to stop him because he's just playing outstanding this year.
Yeah.
The Warriors, I see them winning this series, but I give the Spurs a shot to like take them to 7.
I don't see 7.
No.
I give them a shot.
I wish it was OKC because I would have picked OKC out of complete and utter spite. I would have
Me
said
too.
OKC was going to beat the Warriors in the first round, and I would have been like, I just
Carmelo's
loved
Anthony's
it.
still on that team.
I don't care. It's just
I do.
There's so much rage that Westbrook can have.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too. I mean, we'll get there when we do, but it will be interesting to see if playoff Carmelo is more vintage than regular season Carmelo of this year. Let's go best player, key player in this series because I think especially key player is particularly interesting. Best player, I've got KD because Curry's going to be out,
I think we all have
and I
KD.
might have had KD regardless.
Yeah.
Key player, Lucas.
Key player, this is fun. There's one man I irrationally love on the Spurs.
Manu?
No.
Patty Mills.
No. The man is named Rudy Gay.
Oh, I forget he's on there.
And I love Rudy Gay irrationally. He's the kind of guy that can take over a game. He hasn't been for a really long time. And I think I was trying to look at like the season box scores of just Rudy Gay throughout the whole season. And there were 7 times where Rudy Gay dropped 30 plus. And they were on good teams.
Talk about your all-time deep dives. Oh my god.
Seriously.
I freaking love Rudy Gay. And I think like if they're not going to go small ball, let's say the Warriors don't go small ball for an instance, and Pop takes advantage of that, and he puts Rudy Gay at like the 4 instead, and you put LaMarcus at the 5. So nobody's guarding Rudy, right? So you'd have Durant at the 3, Draymond at the 5. So nobody really is guarding Rudy Gay right now. And I think he can take advantage of like 8 minutes of a game.
And-
Like consistently, he could get like that mid-second quarter. Rudy Gay drops 10. Oh my God, he got 10. Like that's weird. Nobody really thinks about it. Third quarter comes around, he drops another 6. End of the game, he has 20 because he made some free throws in the 4th. He got a shot in the 1st. And then like throughout the series, Rudy Gay is averaging like 20 a game off of really sneaky buckets.
My rebuttal to this would be you actually think anything Rudy Gay is going to do in this series is going to impact who wins this series?
I think he's going to be the most valuable role player on the Spurs, and that's what they need. They need some role player to step up. And Danny Green had that magic before, but he's not going to have it again. Patty Mills had that magic before. It's not going to do it again. Manu's old. Tony Parker's
Manu
old.
just had a dunk the other night. He's young.
Dunk.
He's 22.
Pau Gasol's super old. I think a lot of the players,
22 times 2.
they're really constant. They can produce at a constant rate, and that's all they need. But they need that one outlier that can push them over the edge. And I think Rudy Gay still has a little bit in him.
There's only one player in this entire series that can make the San Antonio Spurs upset the Golden State Warriors.
Klay Thompson.
Kevin Durant. I have KD as best player and key player. If KD kind of like goes head case KD and
He's getting
starts
some
feeling the pressure,
technicals.
I know he wants everyone to believe he doesn't feel pressure. He's like,
He does.
I can't even start. I can't even start on
If
KD.
they like
all the
lose,
pressure.
say game 2 at home, like the media is it's going to be a
It'd be even
crap
worse.
storm.
They lost game 1. Oh my God.
So to me, the only player that could actually impact who wins this series, because I think it's an easy series. I think Golden State wins it no problem. KD to me is the key player. Nick?
I got to go LaMarcus. If LaMarcus is playing the way he's been playing all year, just fantastic basketball, he could be all NBA first, second team, somewhere in there. Probably more on the second team. But he is everything the Spurs are right now. Without him, I know they haven't had Kawhi all year. He's not coming back for the playoffs. I think they had that players meeting. Just they agree he's not coming back. He will either make this Warriors win in 5 or Warriors win in 4, and it's just going to be LaMarcus, because I don't think it really. They could go past that, but I think it's going to be.
I think that's
Warriors
really if LaMarcus underperforms the series over really fast. Like if LaMarcus doesn't average like 25 and 10, this is pretty much over.
Agreed.
Yeah. Like in the first game, if he doesn't drop 25,
I think he's going to even drop more.
I mean, I think he could, but I'm saying like if he averages below LaMarcus Aldridge, like normally does, lower than himself, it's over. It's not even a competition.
I think these first two series that we just talked about in the West, Houston T-Wolves, Golden State, San Antonio, I think they're the only, I'm just 110% confident that, you know, who is winning these series out of all of them. In the Eastern Conference, I wasn't 100% confident in anything. These to me are slam dunks. Oh no, I did it again.
Yes.
I really needed. I need to get that out of my vernacular.
There's 3 series in the whole East and West. It's the Cavs Pacers for me, the Warriors Spurs, and the Rockets T-Wolves, where I think all 3 of those teams are going to win, just in 5 games at the worst. But I mean,
how many games for you in this one, Nate?
This is 5. I think Warriors win in 5.
I've got Warriors in 5.
I had Warriors in 5.
Nice. Unity on the podcast. It's something different.
Next up, Portland Trailblazers, the 3 seed, versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Game 1 tipped Saturday, 10:30 ESPN. 2-2 for the season series. Nick, impressions?
I mean, last night we were trying to figure out what this mid 3 through 6 was going to look like and who was playing who. And
it was so cool how up in the air it was.
There was still 2 games going on. Like, I don't think these games matter. And then it finally refreshed this morning when I woke up and I was like, oh, God, I didn't get any of these right. I was like, I don't understand any of these going on. I'm really excited for this series. This will probably be my favorite series, I think, just because of the way they're playing. It's Dame time.
This is Dame time?
It's Dame time.
I think it has to be Dame time because CJ time doesn't even exist.
They're awful with just like CJ on the floor.
CJ against the Pelicans is a really bad matchup because Drew Holiday absolutely shuts down CJ.
I love it. I love that Drew's back.
Drew's back.
From when he was like 21 to now. That is like in a few years where he just disappeared.
And he's super underrated to the fact that if you ask like a casual fan for your top 10 point guard list, like Drew's not going to be on that list. And Drew's like this elite point guard on defense now that's probably going to make an all defensive team.
Oh, yeah, probably all defensive.
So he's averaging like 25 a game the past like 2 weeks or something. He's just playing really well. But nobody really knows him right now because they kind of thought he just died.
Would you say he's a prototypical point guard, like one of the few remaining, or still no more modern day?
I think he's a good modern point guard. I just think he's a modern point guard that plays defense, which I thought the last one was going to be Bledsoe, but even Bledsoe was way more traditional and like drive, pick and rolls, but could shoot a 3. But Drew Holiday can shoot a 3-pointer much better than Bledsoe. My heart and soul is going to pick the Pelicans to win this series because I just think the matchup is going to be so hard on the Portland side. Like, if one of those guards, if Lillard or CJ have a bad night, the whole team struggles. And
it's really Lillard needs to have good nights.
And then there's
5, 6, 7 games.
And throughout the entire season, there have been nights when both of them have bad nights. And that's happened more often than comfortably enough to be a Trailblazers fan where, okay, what if 2 games in this series, like both of them played poorly? We saw that against Boston. Like Lillard and CJ played terrible against Boston until the very end where CJ hit like 3 clutch shots, but those were like the only shots he made in like 20 minutes. So it was. I have a hard time rooting for Portland right now, or being like completely on like they're totally fine. They're a great 3rd seed. Like realistically, they feel like a 6th seed to me. They don't have everything together.
They kind of just had that one winning stretch of basketball that just happened to last longer than most teams' ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that
I
put
agree.
them as the 3rd seed. I don't think if you look at them, if you took a snapshot of who they were, you know, at every interval of the series, at every season, at every 15 games of the season, I don't think you would see a 3 seed. I completely agree with you. And I think the Maurice Harkless injury could potentially be significant
big for
in
them.
this.
It's huge.
I mean, especially when you're battling AD, Anthony Davis.
Has there been a lot more win streaks this year? Like deep win streaks, like 15 games, 16 games,
It feels
11 games. Like I feel like there's a lot.
I don't have the stats behind it, but yes, it feels like the entire
I could list like
NBA
5
has
teams
been
right now
very
that have
streaky.
gone through it: Celtics, Sixers, Jazz,
They all feel like they end in
Trailblazers.
injury though.
Obviously, the Rockets.
the Rockets. Yeah, the Warriors at one point.
Yeah, I was
were
going to
on-
say Golden State went on one.
Yeah.
That's
I
insane.
think Cavs had one, right?
Yeah, the Cavs went on 11.
Um,
Sorry to distract us from
no,
No, it's an interesting subplot to this NBA season.
because it does play into the fact.
Whether or not it's accurate, since we don't have any stats. To
But
back it up.
we just list off like 6 teams that went on at least a 10. We're
Impressive
good.
in and
We're
of
good.
itself.
I think the Blazers are the team that it will. We saw them play the Rockets. What was that 3 weeks ago now? 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean roughly.
yeah.
And they, even with Dame and CJ playing poorly,
The rest of the
the
team.
rest of the
Yeah.
team stepped up. And Harkless being out is a huge loss to them. I don't think Nurkic can really stop Anthony Davis. I don't think anybody can stop Anthony Davis.
No.
But he can put up a solid fight over most other centers in the West right now.
My problem is there's no rotation to stop Anthony Davis. If you have one guy that's average that can put a body on it, but you put him in the category of players that a coach would throw at someone like Anthony Davis, but he's just one person. You need 3 rotational bigs to be like, okay, we're going to suffocate Anthony Davis. Doesn't matter if this guy gets a foul because he's interchangeable. Nurkic needs to be one piece of a 3-man, big man rotation to stop Anthony Davis. The rest of Portland is Harkless, right? He would play small ball 4. It was, man, I can't even remember the other guy. It's Myers Leonard, but Myers Leonard is terrible. You had Noah Vonleh.
Myers Leonard sounds like the name of a pharmaceutical company.
It's just terrible. But I think that the role players on Portland are better, and I think they're more proven. The problem is when I first thought of, okay, who are the role players for the Pelicans? And my first thought was, I can't at that top of my head. And then it honestly took me 5 minutes to like stare at a piece of paper and think like, okay, I can do this. I can name 3 others. And there's Solomon Hill, who just came back, but he's like a defensive specialist. There's Etuan Moore. But then there's the one guy I completely forgot about was Mirotic. And he is killing
He's killing it. He shaved his beard.
He shaved his beard and he's averaging 25 and 12. Like he's actually like
And they're-
he's having like what is it, the beginning of the season Bulls.
Right.
That's who he
He's
was.
playing the 4 right now, so he's like stretching for them. So they're playing AD at center.
So who's going to guard Mirotic? If Mirotic's super hot right now, he's a stretch 4 that can actually has post moves. I don't know a Portland Trailblazer that can guard that.
I can't believe we're this far into discussing this series, and neither of you have brought up the name you know I'm thinking of.
Oh, you mean our Lord and Savior Rajon Rondo?
Praise be. Praise be.
That was the best.
I was actually just thinking about bringing him on the next subject.
Okay,
but
he's my key player. Spoiler
Oh,
alert.
that's why.
Right.
You sandbagging son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Should we go key player? You want to?
We can do it. He's not having like a great season series against the Pelicans. He's only averaging 8 points and 6 assists.
Doesn't
But
matter.
but the Pelicans are 2-0 when Rondo plays against the Trailblazers. So
Rondo knows every play to ever exist in basketball.
Rondo is a coach on the floor. He can play great defense
in the
and
locker room and
He knows everything. I just feel like
I feel like you guys are about to start sword fighting, and you know what I mean.
I just think Rondo and Drew Holiday playing great defense against they don't even have to play like elite defense. They just have to play above average defense against Lillard and CJ to give CJ and Lillard a chance to do poorly, to shake them up. And then you have Anthony Davis, Mirotic, and the rest of that squad just getting buckets. That's all they need to do.
You think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, please.
I just wish Rondo was on the Trailblazers for like a week so he could learn all of their plays and their.
He already
final.
knows all their plays,
But like all their fourth quarter plays, because if he knew that, then I would just give them the series and it'd be like a 4-0 sweep because Rondo just knows everything in the clutch to ever happen.
He already knows everything. He's going to become commissioner.
You treat him like he's so omnipotent.
He is.
It's fantastic.
I'm going to get a shrine.
I said
Jersey,
I said Damian Lillard is key player to this series. To me, he needs to be the best player on the floor. He needs to outshine Anthony Davis in order for the Trailblazers to win. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But to me, he's the key player.
I'm going to go Drew Holiday.
Wow.
I think Drew needs to shut down CJ or Damian, whoever he's on, but he needs to stop them because then let AD do all the offensive load.
I agree. And I think the Pelicans are primed because Rondo and it's Rondo, Solomon Hill, Drew Holiday can all switch like the guard position for defensive purposes. So they're in a good position where they can shut down one guy a night. And then the rest of the rest of Portland will just crumble.
And yeah, Pelicans, I mean, they're not as deep, probably.
No. They have an MVP candidate.
Yeah, and a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, too.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Let me say.
He's the superhuman.
Amika Okafor.
Yeah, right.
For our listeners that haven't been paying close enough attention to our main man, Anthony Davis. I've got Pelicans in 7.
Oh my God, I have Pelicans in 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blazers in 6.
I really want the Pelicans to win. We can't just have every favorite winning this. And I just feel like
I don't.
I know. You're insane. But this Pelicans team just feels like they have the right pieces to win.
I should just gamble with you guys.
Anthony
'cause that
Davis,
makes
he
so much money.
needs to
You
advance.
should gamble with me more because I'm winning money against you right now.
Yeah, you had the Masters champion, right?
I did. I had Patrick Reed. I also had Jordan Spieth.
Least
on my team.
popular professional athlete of all time.
Of all time. They really hate him. I had to learn about how much people hate him, and I get it now. I get. Why
I don't
people hate
actually
him.
know why. We'll talk about it off podcast.
He's a frat bro.
You're a frat bro.
Yeah, but they really hate him.
Whatever, frat bro. Moving on. Number 4 seed, OKC. I actually had no idea that they had a chance to be the number 4 seed going into yesterday.
Didn't.
I saw a graphic this morning showing them versus Utah with them as the 4 seed, and it was like a Twitter graphic. So I was
Right.
like, oh, some asshole just totally ruined that. Like,
Right.
that's not right. I go to NBA.com, and I'm just like scratching my head like a confused monkey. Just perplexed.
I thought last night it was the Jazz Trailblazers game and it was playing for the 3rd seed. So I was just like, oh, it's 3 or 4.
Right.
Whatever. And then you're going to play so-and-so. But I was like, I woke up this morning. Did the same thing. I'm like, wait a second. Why is Portland down here and Thunder here?
So as I looked closer, I was able to ascertain through, much research and strenuous effort, OKC up 3-1 in the season series. Yeah, that was like a Google search away. And that's why. So 4 seed OKC versus number 5 Utah Jazz. Game 1's tipping Sunday, 6:30. Turner Broadcasting Network. I don't know why I said that. Lucas, why don't you start us off on this one?
I looked at the series and all I wanted still was OKC Warriors. That's what I wanted at the beginning of the year. It's what I wanted at the very last moment. It never happened. But I still think this series is going to be great. My worry is the Jazz might be too hot and they might be slightly too good on defense to actually ruin my hopes for maybe eventually an OKC versus Houston or OKC versus Warriors matchup that I really want in my life. So this one's really struggles with me picking like everything else, but like the biggest things is Steven Adams has to shut down Gobert to me. Like on offense, even like Steven Adams has to. I know it's cheating, but every player kind of cheats. Everybody goes. I think I think Kendrick Perkins said this once on like NBA TV. He's like, in the playoffs, everyone goes, if the speed limit's 40, everybody's driving at 50 miles an hour. So you're cheating a little bit. You're shoving a little bit when you technically shouldn't. So like we need Steven Adams to be that guy when Gobert's about to go for a block. You need to like box out. Like preemptively, oh no, box out.
Sure.
You need to be kind of pull Lance Stevenson, do all the not dirty,
Sign Zaza.
but you need a player that's going to do something to disrupt the constant defensive force of Gobert, and I think Steven Adams can do that. He's wide enough. He's big enough of a body to.
He's a straight up badass.
Right. So if like Gobert's posting him up, Steven Adams has the mass to actually move Gobert to the side, and I think like Adams has to be this deciding factor in negating Gobert on the offensive and defensive end. And that, like, if he ends every single game with like a 0-0-0 stat line or whatever, that's totally fine. As long as Gobert did not do like defensive player of the year Gobert.
I think it's going to be shutting Westbrook out from the like driving. Because he's going to be going up against Gobert in the paint. Westbrook's not going to get easy shots. They need to push Westbrook to taking threes. If they can get him in the mindset like, oh, this is a wide open shot, let Westbrook take the wide open three because he is not good at it. Let him take 8 of those a game. Because we've seen before if Westbrook takes 8 threes a game, they're losing. They're not going to win that game because he's going to hit maybe 2.
No, it's good strategy for sure. Try and make him an outside shooter. Just entice him into it.
Just Ricky Rubio back off 2-3 feet. Let him take that shot. That's fine. And then it will turn into, is Carmelo Anthony going to be a player? Is he worth his contract? Is he worth playing at all? Or should you just throw him as a 6-man and say, take on their bench?
They're not doing it.
They're not going to do it, but should they?
Yes, they absolutely should.
I don't think Melo is going to be a deciding factor in this series. I think at this point, either they're going to play Melo or they're just going to sit him. Like, this is where the regular season, they got him. We respect you. You start. You take your shots. But now playoffs come. You know, he might sit at, like, long stretches of the game for Jeremiah Grant, which for a casual fan, they're like, well, isn't Melo on? Well, it's like, okay, well, you have Paul George. You have Westbrook, who's going to take literally 85% of all shots when they're on the court together. So why do you need Melo? You get Jeremiah Grant, who's going to hustle, who's going to get boards. He might get an offensive rebound.
Yeah.
He can actually get
Move,
up in the air.
He can walk up and down the court.
Exactly. So you have,
you
have a competent human being that's young. I don't think Melo is going to be a huge deciding factor because I don't think he's going to get more than maybe 10 shots a game. Like, if he got more than 10 shots a game, I think you should start worrying.
Well, but that's also the nice thing about where Melo is at mentally right now. Unless he's hot, he's not going to take more than 10 shots a game.
Right.
Which is also why I don't think he's going to be a huge factor in that I don't think he's going to drag the Thunder down. He's not going to force the issue. Please, God. I mean, I hope what I'm saying is true. But I really don't think he's going to. I think if he's hot and Russ so chooses to feed him the ball, which is a whole other story, then great. Then he can be, like, beneficial. But I don't think Melo is just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to jack it up 20 times this game. He's just not.
Playing devil's advocate, what if Melo, this is the perfect matchup for Melo? Because the power forward right now is Derek Favors, who can't play defense outside of 10 feet of the rim.
But when they just slide Crowder to 4.
But then you create another matchup. So if you're actually going to have to put in Crowder to play Melo, but then you just pull Melo and Crowder's still out there, it's not going to always be a situation where, like, both players are always out there at the same time. So say Melo's out there to start the game, Derek Favors is starting at 4. You have a mismatch there. Then in like the
Melo just does his like 10 jab steps into a ugly
a
mid-range.
pull.
But I mean, like, he
hit
has
the rim and bounce away.
I'm not saying he's been able to do it this season, but he has an opportunity to. And I think also because they also play Jerebko at the 4, like this 33-year-old European player that is now just a defensive specialist, but he's now just at the 4.
I like that I'm nodding, pretending like I know Jerebko. Like, yes, of course, yes.
Jonas Jerebko.
So he's at the 4. So I think like Melo could take advantage of like those 2 players in particular. But as soon as they switch to go small to guard Melo like that, like bringing Crowder to the 4, I think instantly Melo's gone. and instantly comes in Jeremiah Grant, and then Crowder.
But then
and
they
Jeremiah Grant
make the same switch.
But those switches don't happen at the same time though in games. Like you can't every single time a player comes in be able to have a defensive switch with it.
And it's also the fact that there will be times you want to make that switch, but there's no fouls, there's no like out of bounds play.
Right.
You know, you can say like in a perfect world, we'll take Jeremiah Grant in right when Carmelo's useless. And it's like that may be like a minute and a half, 2 minutes down the road.
There's a lot of that.
In a perfect world, yes, that would work, but you can't always make that switch. And then the point is, Carmelo's not good on defense.
No, he's
Let's
not.
go into Carmelo. Let's just get him fouled.
Maybe that's another thing though. The Jazz aren't a good offensive team.
No.
Like it's just Donovan Mitchell, and that's it.
And that's comes back to earlier when I said like rookies carrying you in the playoffs and scoring.
It's
scary.
not
It's risky, yeah.
there's
It's
not a
scary.
good history of it at all. So
It's interesting.
even if you went back to Michael Jordan was a rookie in the playoffs and he struggled. Like it's not a good situation. You don't want your rookie being your best player.
No. I was going to say, as an OKC fan, which I am, it's interesting that Utah, which is maybe probably the second hottest team in the West, only behind Houston. I mean, record-wise, coming into, the last, 20, 30, 40 games, they might even be as hot as Houston.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that that's who I would want to play as OKC. I would rather play Utah than New Orleans. I would rather play Utah than Portland. I would rather play San Antonio than Utah.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you say I'd rather play San Antonio or not play San Antonio, I'm like,
But yeah, out of those three teams, out of Utah, the Pelicans, and Portland, I'm really happy that we have Utah.
Especially if you're Paul George. Paul George is shooting 44% from three against this team all year.
And he's in a slump in his
he's on a slump.
So this might
now
be a
he's
slump
going into a
breaker.
dojo where he's like, I've torn this team apart all year. I'm averaging 22, but I'm just killing them from three. Like I don't have to play that hard. I can actually sit back and take threes, and I'm more confident right now. I think if anybody on that team is more susceptible to like fluctuations and like mental stability in a game, it's Paul George.
Yeah.
And if he's in a scenario in which he thinks he can succeed, I think this is like he's going to do his best against the Jazz, specifically in the playoffs.
Should we do best player, key player?
Sure.
Best player, Westbrook. Anyone disagree there?
Nope.
No.
Oh, you smiled like I thought you were going.
Yeah, I was
to.
like,
No. I'm
I
smiling because I have a feeling who your key player is.
All right, key player. Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
All right, I have Donovan Mitchell.
Damn it.
it's a fine choice.
I do have Donovan Mitchell. If there can be zero drop off, or really more importantly, if Donovan Mitchell can somehow elevate his game,
Yeah.
then Utah wins, honestly. If Donovan Mitchell is better than regular season Donovan Mitchell, and not even by like leaps and bounds, but like if he can just take like a
Like
mini step,
3 or 4 points.
yeah,
so
then I
hard.
actually think Utah beats OKC. You had Donovan Mitchell too?
No, I had Westbrook.
Oh, as key player.
Yeah, I thought everyone was going to go Westbrook because I just thought, are you going to get like night or day Westbrook?
See, I was thinking of that too.
You could get great Westbrook, MVP Westbrook, or you could get Westbrook that's taking 7 threes a game, Westbrook. And I don't want that Westbrook.
I want that Westbrook.
No, I don't want the Jazz winning this. I want
I don't
OKC
either.
winning this. I think it'd be more fun having OKC go to the next round.
It's the playoffs.
Do you-
We won star power.
Next round,
Do you not
OKC's
see
playing.
my long-term like Paul George come to LA?
Yeah, I hate you for that. But like, if OKC wins the series, Rockets win the next series. It's OKC Rockets. That's a fun series. OKC magically wins that series. It's OKC Golden State Warriors. That is the best line.
Yeah.
I want to watch all those
who
games.
do you think could freak the Rockets out more? OKC or Utah? It's obviously OKC. If
OKC is going to terrify everybody.
If they
'cause
can
don't know what they're gonna
steal
get.
a game in Houston, then do we see James Harden CP3 playoff shakiness?
Oh my god! I just want it. I want it.
I know.
I want a second round out.
Like, we've all been pulling for Utah since pre-All-Star break when they went on that 10-game run. All three of us said they would make the playoffs at
Yeah.
that point.
And we didn't even think they would be this high.
No.
I think I had them at 7.
So none
You
of us
both
are,
had them at 7. I
None
had
of us
them
are
at
throwing
8.
shade. We all like the Utah Jazz. We
Right.
love their jerseys. We love the
Of
jerseys when they
jerseys.
do the really cool like arches thing. But I really want to see OKC advance. Nick, who was your key player?
Paul George.
That's a good
Totally
pick.
fair.
I think Paul George he has the defensive. Is he depoy? Like he's not. Like there's no conversation anymore. But is
he's
he
probably top 5 defensive player?
is he going to just be defensive player, or is he going to get his offensive? Hey, I'm not in a slump, because he's so inconsistent. That's just unbearable to watch sometimes. Where I'll watch Thunder games, I'm like, is Paul George on the floor? Is that some guy?
That's happened to me. Honestly.
Is that some guy I don't know? It's like Wiggins and the Wolves. I'm like, wait, Wiggins is out there?
I didn't
Where?
realize you weren't being literal, because literally that has happened to me. I've watched 2 or 3 minutes and been like, Paul George, is that you?
No,
Like, where are you, Paul George?
I forget what game I was watching, but the Thunder, I was like, did Paul George touch the ball recently? Or then everyone's like, oh yeah, he shot 2 times. I'm like, did he? I don't think he did, because I haven't seen him on offense, because it's just Westbrook. What do you guys have the series at?
OKC in 7.
Wow.
that's like the most like I'm almost picking the Jazz scenario. I have OKC in 5.
Really?
Yeah,
Same.
What? I thought you were picking Jazz.
No, they're not going to win the series.
Oh, you bamboozled me. All right.
No.
Yeah, I have OKC in 5. I want them to win. It's more emotional right now for this pick. I need them to win. They'll probably drop a game because that's total OKC move. But
And I just think the Jazz are good. They're good enough to win a game, but they don't have the offense to win 4 games.
Wow, I'm really buoyed by this. Like, thank you guys. I'm going into this series feeling a lot better. But it's going to be OKC in 7. Well, thank you for joining us again, the Sip and Swish podcast. These were probably yesterday's and today's were probably my favorite podcast we've ever gotten
this
to
was
do.
great.
absolutely.
Looking forward to this year's playoffs. We will be dropping pods not on every Wednesday moving forward through the playoffs. We're going to try and give you guys hopefully up to 2 a week so that we can stay up to date with everything that's happening in the league.
I'm the only person who is here all the time. While you guys are going on vacations, I'm dedicated to the podcast.
Yes, Lucas and I have mistimed as in terms of sip and swish things. We have mistimed vacations, but we're going to make it happen. We're going to keep the podcasts coming, and let's go, man. 2018 playoffs.
Baby.